Did it work, Kent? Okay. All right. So how many of you have used eye tracking? A few of you. What challenges have you seen with eye tracking? Yeah. Looking at that video, were any of you surprised at how far away from her the device was? And she was still doing quite well with it. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned that the things that I have struggled with most with eye tracking are positioning is the number one thing. Calibration is the other. Yeah. 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 I went on a consult just yesterday up to the U to see a kid he's been a PRC user for years, and he's been using his hand to access his device, but his mom says his contractures in his hands are starting to make it so that he's a lot slower now. So we got out the eye tracker and put this kid on the eye tracker. Failed. He hated it. He actually he went to a few sentences, and then he went back to his device, which was down here, and he typed in "I hate." I hate it. And so we're like, okay, well, he can still use his hands for right now, but in the future we may have to add that eye tracker on, and that's something that can be added on later should the need arise. Okay. So the look module determines where your pupils are focused on the screen. Calibration ensures that the device is sensitive to those eyes and to the environment as well. Setup positioning is the most crucial component. And there are several options. So you saw that the girl on the screen, Vanessa, she was using a dwell feature. So she just had to look at the target for a certain amount of time. I've seen other users. We've got another user that you'll see later on. His name is Brad Whitmore, who uses eye tracking with a switch. And it's very effective for him, very quick for him. And the other option is Blink. I've yet to see someone use Blink other than I've seen some adults with ALS who use Blink because it's a little, I personally like Blink. It's kind of a nice way to access the device and to get it to select the items you're wanting. New Point is available through a partnership with Origin with the head pointer. This is what it looks like. It's just a part that goes, an accessory that goes on the top of our accent line of products. And you'll have little dots. See those little silver dots? They'll either go on the child's forehead, on their nose, or on their eyeglasses. And it's got an infrared camera that kind of tracks that infrared dot. And this is Noah. And as I was watching this video, I didn't see Noah.
I was in a really bad accident. Like, the woman that died was about to be my sister-in-law.
I want my child
I guess we got to watch.
I don't know how to do this.
Takes work.
A Good Person, rated R, in theaters March 24th.
Noah is using the 1400 like a champ with head pointing.
Well, like I know that.
And this old Echo sitting over here that he uses really well with Unity 144.
Like, I think
And our new software engineer, Chris, over here. Hi, Chris. And Noah is doing great. Only had to make a couple little adjustments this morning.
This is working awesome.
It's working
You can see Noah's
awesome.
using 144
Yay,
buttons.
we're glad to hear it.
For
Thanks, Noah.
access and is successful with that. Okay, New Point, it is a type of head mouse, infrared light and a camera used to track the head movements. You have the small reflective dot, and the software tracks where the dot is located, moves across the screen, and selections are made by dwelling or using a switch. How many have any of you used head tracking? A few. Any limitations that you've seen with that? What have you seen? Yeah, and there are features within the software that you can kind of slow the cursor down to kind of help with some of those movements. Um, it's called smoothing. Um, the problem that I've had them, yeah. If you have nystagmus for one, yeah, nystagmus for one, strabismus sometimes, like if the eyes don't work in concert, but you can kind of adjust for that in an eye tracker because you can tell the eye tracker, I want you to use the right eye or the left eye or both eyes. So those are two times. Cost is another one. So the cost of the computer of the device is about $7,000. The eye tracker is another $6,000, where this head tracker is probably $1,000. So again, it depends on cost. And for a lot of kids, some kids do better with head tracking. Yeah, with moving. Eye tracking is very fatiguing on your eyes. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna turn this. I'll turn the volume down so you don't interrupt me too badly. But I'm going to set this iPad. I'll set it up for eye tracking and just pass it around, or head tracking, and just pass it around and give it a try. And I'll have the trigger action. I'll have it be your tongue out. Okay. So as you're head tracking, you'll have to stick your tongue out. Okay. So I'll pass that around. Just hold it in front of your face. It doesn't need a whole lot of calibration. Just hold it in front of your face and watch it go around and stick your tongue out to select something. Okay, so you can kind of get an idea of what head tracking is. All right, the vocabularies in our devices. So this is what makes PRC Saltillo devices so powerful. I mean, the hardware is one thing, but the vocabularies and the language systems in our software, in our products are really what is why PRC has been in business for 60 plus, 70 plus years now. Unity is a vocabulary system that was developed by a linguist named Bruce Baker, who worked with children that had cerebral palsy, and he wanted a way for children with cerebral palsy to be able to communicate using minimal symbols and symbols that had multi-meanings. Within our Unity language system, we have Unity, Unidad, which is the Spanish version of Unity, Lamp Words for Life for the visually impaired, Core Scanner, and Essence. And these are all based on Unity principles, motor planning, and whatnot. Our word power products are also in our NovaChat line. It was developed by a speech language pathologist named Nancy Inman, who is still very active working with Saltillo to improve those products as well. Word power, though, it's not only available in the NovaChats, it's also available in our Accent products as well as Tobii Dynavox products. So we don't have the monopoly on word power, okay? We do have the monopoly on Unity. Communication Journey Aphasia was built out of a group in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it was based on live participation approach for aphasia. The Communication Journey Aphasia software vocabulary is available in our NovaChat line, as well as the VIA Pro through the Touch Chat app. And then international partners for languages, we do offer Unity in German. We do have some Hebrew supports in word power, Arabic, and localized English versions for the UK, Canadian, French, Australia, New Zealand as well. Okay. Our voices. Acapella just introduced, I don't know how many of you knew about this. It was a big initiative with Acapella to create new African-American English voices. So they created Tamira and Darius, and as well as some other female and male child voices. And really, Acapella, I think it's a great voice synthesizer. Amalgu is another voice synthesizer that are in our devices. They have created a lot of diverse voices. The Voice Keeper, voice creation, this allows a client to you've got it upside down. You might switch the device. Put the handle on top. Like she probably, it didn't work for you, did it? You had it upside down. That's all. Okay. Any of you heard of Voice Keeper, voice creation? This allows a child to actually go in and they can create a voice based on their own voice. It is really quite cool. I actually did the one. Acapella offers a create your own acapella, my own voice. I actually did that one with acapella, and I was shocked at how my synthesized voice sounded like me. I thought, wow, I could put myself to sleep. You could do it with a sibling. Yeah. And it seems like it was about $1,000 to create your own voice, right around there. But it can be done, and it's really cool. As far as the symbols that are included in our device, symbol sticks by and News to You is an option. The PCS symbols by Mayor Johnson are offered in our devices. We have new skin tones and Nova Chat and Touch Chat. And a lot of these companies are really trying to diversify and work on diversity. Okay. Okay, our ambassadors. The ambassador program showcases individuals who are actively using PRC Saltillo systems. We have a bunch of them. They travel around to conferences with PRC Saltillo. I've had them link into classes I'm teaching and to communicate with y'all. In exchange for their time, PRC will individually contract to provide services at conferences and trainings. And they're really like I'd say they're the rock stars of PRC Saltillo. We have a couple of former ambassadors who used to be for PRC here. One of them actually works at Costco in Salt Lake. I don't know if any of you have been into the Costco at Salt Lake and seen Jaden. Yeah, he used to be one of our ambassadors. Brad Whitmoyer is the one I was telling you about. He has cerebral palsy, and he went through college. He became a computer programmer. He uses our Unity, he uses Unity 144. He used to use it with switch scanning, and he was an amazing switch scanner. And then when eye tracking came out, he went to eye tracking and hits the switch on his leg to communicate. He is a business owner. He owns his own business. He contracts with PRC Saltillo and works for PRC Saltillo. He's a web designer, product designer, customer service. If I need something done on the accent, I'll call Brad and say, hey, Brad, I need you to figure out how to do this. And he usually comes through and does it. Right now, I've got him working on a calculator for our Empower software. He created a calculator for New Voice, which was our older software, and he's working on a calculator for Empower. But amazing with macros and everything. We have a lot of collaboration within PRC Saltillo. So we have customers, clients, clinicians, consultants, our engineers take feedback from us. We have a big Teams channel where all of this stuff is funneled into operations team and implementation team and marketing. Y'all don't need to know about that too much. All right, so let's talk case studies in the last little while we have. For each of these, think about the access method, a device you might use, and the language system and why you would pick that. So the first one I wrote down, 5-year-old female with Rett disorder. Eye tracking needs to be an option. Okay. What else? So access method, eye gaze. What device? Via Pro head tracking. They might lose. Yeah, eye tracking would be the one I'd go with. I'd probably go with an Accent 1400, give her the bigger real estate. Okay, language system. Unity. I mean, really, it'd have to be, you could use LAMP. What's the problem with LAMP, though? LAMP Words for Life. You're stuck at 84 buttons. You can't go with fewer, but unless you use Vocabulary Builder, which you could use Vocabulary Builder and hide buttons, but still those targets are going to be really small. So with a girl with Rett, I would probably use Unity and start her out with 15 or 28 buttons. Okay. All right. Good. How about a 10-year-old male with autism? And I gave you a little more information. So touch access will be his method. He can access small buttons. He ambulates without assistance. Family speaks Spanish at home. Yes. Let's say he is. Multi-chat. Okay. Anyone else? What about the family speaks Spanish at home? I don't know if multi-chat is in Spanish. Word Power does have an Español Básico if we use Word Power. Yeah. So what if he was not a Gestalt language learner? LAMP. Yeah, LAMP Words for Life. I love LAMP Words for Life, and it has the ability to switch to Spanish with the touch of a button. So you could switch it over to Spanish and keep going. All right, our 8-year-old female with cerebral palsy, diagnosis of CVI, poor fine motor control, hearing within normal limits. What access method are you thinking? What's that? Okay, I'm going to throw. What about eye tracking? Do not rule out eye tracking on this client. Yeah. I actually went and consulted with one of Holly's clients, and I went to the dad's house. This kid had CVI, diagnosis of CVI. And I said, do you care if I try eye tracking? And dad's like, you know he's blind, right? I said, yeah, do you care if I try eye tracking? And I put this kid on some games, and he was hitting targets left and right. Yeah. So even though you see a diagnosis of CVI, give eye tracking a try. Okay, I find it, and he's not the only child that I've seen that has a diagnosis of CVI that does quite well on eye tracking. Okay, for this client, let's say that the CVI is bad enough that eye tracking is not going to be an option. Okay, what's our access? I would say switch scanning. Okay. Yeah, hearing's within normal limits, so we could do auditory prompts. Okay. What device would you use? It's not loud enough. Are they running New Voice or Empower? Because I ran into this with a client the other day who I setting up with an 800 on auditory scanning with the proximity switches in the headrest, and on Empower, the auditory prompts were almost inaudible. We couldn't hear them. So I just thought, you know what, let's just switch over to New Voice. And when I switched over to New Voice, the auditory prompts came up, and they were, and I don't know what that was. I got a call and report it to service. But good to know about the Accent 800. Yeah. And is that kid, does he still have the Accent 800 behind him in the, it's a different, okay. Yeah. And a lot of these kids with CVI, if they really can't see the screen, they don't need the device in front of them. So you can put the device anywhere. Like I've seen kids that have it in their backpack and they're using the switches to communicate. You'll hear the voice come from behind them. Could be core scanner stuff. Yeah, I know when you start messing around with core scanner, bad things happen. Yeah. Yeah, you can. Yeah, or they could use a headphone or something like that. All right. Any other clients that you guys want to think about considering? I purposely didn't put an adult on here because I don't, anyone in here working with adults? I don't think anyone does. All right, some of our resources. So if you go to the PRC-Saltillo website and go up to the corner, you'll see that little waffle up there. That takes you to all of the resources that we have on our web. And I'd just like to highlight a few of them here. The first one is Explore AAC. This is a very beginning website that you can send parents to. Say, you know, have you ever considered, how many of you ran into the parent who, like, they have no idea what AAC is? This would be a great website to share with them, okay? It's a very easy to use website, provides them an introduction to AAC. So who's it for? Anyone new to AAC, looking for a simple overview of communication devices and people who use them. And you can share it with families, classroom staff, peers, administrators, you know, to tell them what AAC is, okay? The AAC Language Lab, are any of you using these? You are? Okay. A lot of times when a child gets a communication device funded to them, it comes with a year's access to AAC Language Lab. Although, you know, at $19 a year, just give up your Starbucks for 2 weeks and you should have enough to purchase a subscription to the AAC Language Lab. It's a very comprehensive resource that provides info on language stages, lesson plans, activities, programs. You can create smart charts in the AAC Language Lab. And the $19 annual fee gives you access to everything. It's for parents and families, classroom staff, SLPs, therapists, anyone who supports an AAC learner. Should have access to the AAC Language Lab. And if you really, I'm going to say this, they give me a few free seats every year. So if you need one, email me and I'll try to get you one. I don't know if I can get it for everyone, but I'll use up the ones that I have. How can you use it? You can complete a language screener in there to find your AAC learner's language level, download lesson plans and activities to teach at that level, teach literacy with the getting ready to read programs, and you can make smart charts. Smart charts, basically what a smart chart is a way for you to print off, like if you're focusing on targeted vocabulary for a week, you can print off a smart chart to give to the teacher, the classroom aides, your SLP technicians, your classroom helpers, so that they know where to go on the device to find the vocabulary. The parents, yes, parents as well. Yep. Realize language. Any of you used Realize language? So our devices have what's called an activity, or it's called a LAM, language activity monitor, built into them. If you turn the LAM on in our devices, you can download what the child has accessed and put it into Realize language, and it prints out these really nice charts of data. And it tells you what words were used, when they were used, how often they were used, how many times they were used, and it gives you in a nice visual format. It's an online service that uses data logging within the devices. It can be used with any device, so you could use your Tobii Dynavox system into here. Y'all familiar with Cough Drop? Cough Drop has analytics. This is very similar to Cough Drop, but we charge for it. So it's only $10 a year. Parents, families, SLPs, I think it's very good for progress monitoring. So if you can pull the data from the device, then clear that LAM data and let the child have it for a month, and then pull the LAM data again and run it through Realize, it will tell you how the child's progressing in a very nice, it will date things. What it doesn't tell you, that I wish it did, is if it doesn't tell you whether the child was using the device or you were using the device, unless you go in and toggle off the LAM when you're modeling. So if you're modeling for it, it's going to pick up those models as well, okay? It will tell you how often, and I tell parents, I'm like, you want to know if he's using it at school, just turn that lamb on and look at it when he gets home. Look at that data. It is a nice way to find out if the AAC user is trying to spell words, because it will list the words that are actual words, and then it will have another list of words that it couldn't find in actual words. So it'll say, here's the words that were attempted, okay? Or the words that were not in the device. So say a child was talking about the Patriots, the New England Patriots, and typed in the word Patriots, that might show up separate if the word is Patriots is not in the device vocabulary. Does that make sense? The AAC Learning Journey, this is a website that provides, this is where you can go for learning. So if you want to know how to do something on a PRC device, look at the AAC Learning website. Parents, families, SLP, educators, paraprofessionals, therapists, anyone who wants to expand their AAC knowledge can go there and take courses. You can take an e-learning course to learn our vocabulary, and you're welcome, if any of you would like in your school districts for me to come out and provide a training to you on Unity or LAMP Words for Life, vocabulary, I'm happy to come down and spend some time with you and your team. Sign up for a live instructor-led online training. You can watch a short video tutorials. You can get ASHA CEUs for a lot of the opportunities on there if you're an ASHA certified SLP. This you can click on if you had access to the PowerPoint. It just goes over and takes you to all of those different areas. Other features of our devices over here, the arrow text. Our devices can pair with a Bluetooth cell phone with Android phones, and the child can use their device to communicate through their cell phone. Okay, send text messages, emojis, and all sorts of other things. All right, and that's our staff. You'll see me there representing the Utah State University shirt. Right. Anyway, that's all I have for you. I did bring a bunch of stuff up here that if you would like, you're welcome to come take. This one is our literacy planner, our PRC literacy planner. In here, it goes through every month. It gives you a different book, like a children's book. So this is if you give a pig a pancake for May. And it tells you what words you're focusing on. The core words are ask, give, more, she, and want. And the fringe words are pig and pancake. And then it lists a number of different activities and extension activities that you can do with your child using the communication device. There's great YouTube videos in here. And there's also a low-tech board on the back for, you know, if you had that. But each month is a different story. And then our Saltillo calendar gives you access to different activities in each of the months. So for example, in April, it's singing with your voice, and it gives you another book up here, Music is for Everyone. And it gives you activities that you can use to use with the Word Power products as well. Okay, and it does give you also access to smart charts. There's little QR codes that you can scan, and it will bring up online content for you. Okay, and you're welcome to come up and grab pens, and I just don't want to take them home, but the pens, if you take the lid off and put it on here, look what happens, it lights up. Just so. All right, any questions for me? No questions. Well, no, you can customize LAMP too. So some of the difference, LAMP was actually based off of Unity. It was developed by a speech pathologist, John Halloran, who works back in Arkansas. His wife is an OT, and he kind of took Unity 84 sequenced and turned it into LAMP. LAMP is based on, so LAMP stands for Language Acquisition Through Motor Programming. And it's based on single word utterances. So they're combining single words to create sentences, okay? Every word within LAMP, every vocabulary word is within 3 button hits. So there are no more than 3 sequences to get a word. Okay. You're stuck at 84 buttons on the screen. You can use Vocabulary Builder to hide things, but you don't have access to like pre-stored phrases. Like for me, I mean, my ultimate system, I want kids to have access to spontaneous words. I also want them to have access to pre-stored phrases because I think pre-stored phrases are important, especially for Gestalt learners, you know. Even, yeah, like with LAMP, if I'm using LAMP Words for Life, let me just get into it here. And I need to say this sentence. Let me turn it up so you can hear.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Now, how many hits was that? Do I want a child to really spell out, I need to go to the bathroom? I mean, it'd be easier to just teach them that, right? Now, in LAMP Words for Life, you can do this. Like I put underneath the underneath this talk button, I created a button here.
I need to go to the bathroom.
So I can create pre-stored phrases in LAMP, but Unity already has a lot of pre-stored phrases in there. Okay. There's no app for, and I would be willing to bet that Unity will never be an app. That's my feelings on it. Okay. Another thing Unity has are like, if I were to turn, let me turn Unity on here. So this is Unity 84 sequenced. You have access to this activity row. So I've got things on here like, I can do like those pre-stored phrases. I can say, I live in, my name is this, I'm this years old. So some of those things are really quite nice. And then with Unity, you can also, you know, if 84 buttons is too big, I can come into Unity and select, let's go down to, let's do 28 sequence. So now I have fewer buttons on the screen, but it still applies to the, then I'd have to add an S there. And I don't know if I can do it on, yeah, go here. So you could, but did you see, I don't know if you noticed how many more times I was hitting the screen with 28. You have a lot more hits. So I always tell clinicians, I'm like, when you're working with a kid, see what they can access. If they can access a smaller button, put them on 84 and start with 84 and then use Vocabulary Builder to hide the buttons. Because ideally, the more buttons you have, the fewer keystrokes you're going to have because you have access to more vocabulary here. Yeah. One thing I will do, like if I'm working with a kid, I will use Vocabulary Builder. Like I will say I'm working on colors or shapes. I will hide everything but colors and shapes. And then when I'm done working with those kids, he gets access to everything. Hide it while I'm working with him and I'm done. He gets access. Yeah, that'd be like me saying, okay, we've worked on colors. Now you're going to go back to class and you can only say your colors. Yeah. Yeah. Use vocabulary. Yeah. Use Vocabulary Builder for a short amount of time. Open everything back up. Another thing I'll tell you too, that I see this and it drives me nuts too. I went and did a full like 2-hour training on Unity up in Twin Falls. So it wasn't any of UAT members. It was up in Twin. And I had the PT and the OT, the SLP and the teacher and the parents in the room. And I finished this training and the PT said, so can I create a PT page? I said, yes, you can. I said, what words are you going to put on there? Well, stairs. I'm like, it's already there. Jump, it's already there. Ball, it's already there. And then the light bulb went off. He says, oh, so I need to learn where the vocabulary is. I'm like, bingo. You need to learn where it is. And that's a nice feature about LAMP is if you go to program a button in LAMP that's already in there, it's going to say, hey, this word is already in there. Are you sure you want to add it again? Because what you're doing is you're creating 2 different icon sequences for that kid to learn in order to produce that word. Okay. Holly, did you have a comment? Yeah. The website, yeah. And you're welcome to call me and I'll come down and spend time with you too and with your team. Yeah. But I won't train you about Toby Dynavox. You'll have to call you have to call Brad and have Brad come down. But each AAC company has reps that are available to you. Use them. Yeah, we'll walk you through the funding process. I was talking to Amy today because Amy and Holly are like rock stars in their districts. And Susie. Susie's got devices funded in Jordan. It is Jordan, right? Not Kenya. I get confused anymore with the split. But don't be afraid to get devices funded for kids rather than using district iPads that when the child ages out of their school, he's going to leave that school with nothing. So don't be afraid to, if you've got CCC after your name, you can write a funding report. And it's easy. It's a piece of cake. Okay. And once you've done one, you can do more. I had another thought come to my head, but I can't remember. Yeah. They take a bit of time, but yeah. All right. Any other questions or concerns, comments? Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your conference. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Your keynote speaker today was great on resiliency. And to be honest, these kiddos with complex communication needs are some of the most resilient kids I've seen. I mean, when things don't work for them, they somehow find a way to make it work. I've got a kid with cerebral palsy who, he's like Jaden, but he's using eye tracking to access 144 buttons on his accent while he's driving in his wheelchair. And the kid just moves his body in such a way that he gets it to work. Most resilient kid I've seen. I mean, it's like, yeah, and he doesn't let his disability slow him down at all. So, yeah, it has to go with getting kids. I think when we can get kids communication solutions, you're going to see that resiliency even go higher. Yeah. So, thank you. Anyway. Thanks.
If you'd like it, a battery. I can always use it. Yeah.